Hello,
Hi guys.
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the LFC Ahmedabad podcast. I was just going to say Cricket Corner podcast, but no, this is not my personal podcast. This is the LFC Ahmedabad podcast. Feels so good to be back. Season preview. We have been doing this for, I guess, past couple of seasons now, and this is one of the most popular videos on our channel. So we have Roshan from my LFC Ahmedabad group. Anukash has been on this platform several times now. Hello, Anukash. It's good to
Hi
have you
guys.
back as well. Roshan सिप लेते हुए वोडका का because this is going to be a long rant thing coming. So he is preparing himself. How are you doing, Roshan?
चिल मजा आ रहा है.
Chill. Anukash, how? Let's keep football aside for just a couple of minutes. How's life in general?
Life is doing great actually at this point of time. With the podcast, lots of things are happening, and but there's one thing which I'm really disappointed about when it comes to LFC Ahmedabad, and that is that you guys haven't taught me any Gujarati.
Sorry,
I've been really asking you guys, and I would like to tell your viewers that whenever you guys talk in Gujarati, I have a massive FOMO. Like मुझे Instagram
oh
से
yeah.
फर्क नहीं पड़ता कोई क्या कर रहा हो जिंदगी में, ठीक है, बट मुझे लगता है यार मुझे भी थोड़ी सिखाओ गुजराती, like teach me a bit about it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. See, basically Gujarati terms, and I guess you are more interested in slur words. That would happen when we gradually talk about the LFC preview and we start
Yeah.
when we get into the crux of things. But yeah, for the title's already there. This is the 2023-24 season preview. We'll be talking specifically about the Liverpool squad, about the Liverpool management, about the Liverpool players, tactics. We're going to cover everything. But before we start by talking about the LFC Ahmedabad, oh sorry, the LFC Ahmedabad season preview, like a couple of things before the season starts. I mean, the kits this time the kits are really good. This particular piece of art, I think we have already won the season just because of the apparel which we are going to wear. But I think this is where the positives are going to end because I'm sure people are waiting to talk about the lack of summer activity which we have seen, and I think it's only right. It's I think it's only right that we talk about the lack of signings before, because prior to the start of this season we were told that this is going to be a big summer rebuild. We have seen so many outgoings but just two incomings. Anukash, do you want to start about the incomings first, if you don't mind?
See, that is the topic which is like, which will take me 5 seconds to talk about. So, I mean, because we have had two incomings, Dominic's Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister, but that has been it. I will tell you what, I will done
Yeah.
that on this, and I'll be honest with you. I don't care about anyone. Not I love you guys. I'm not talking about it that, but I don't care about if anyone disagrees with me on that point. I respect their point, but I'll tell you what. Romeo
Yeah.
Lavia had to come in when Fabinho and Henderson were there. I
Yeah.
don't understand, and I am really trying hard not to abuse. But the thing is, I really don't understand this point that why haven't you replaced Henderson and Fabinho, and Lavia should have been the third midfield signing. The fact remains that we are in the Europa League. The fact remains that we as a club really underperformed last season, and the fact remains that we aren't a side with a lot of midfielders. We aren't a side with a lot of quality midfielders, and we are going to get run past by opposition if we don't get the right midfielders. I mean, like people are genuinely like that. If Romeo Lavia comes in, that is it. How is that? If that had to be the signing, on top of that, a centre back signing had to come, and Fabinho and Henderson had to stay in the team. That is how it is. Now you are getting you have
Yeah.
sold Fabinho and Henderson. People are like that. Romeo Lavia comes in and replaces both of them. No, he does not. Liverpool
Yeah,
needed a
true.
defensive midfielder on top of Fabinho. I don't understand the scenario. Honestly, what I feel, and I don't know, like that's just my personal opinion, that
No,
if
no,
it
no.
wasn't working out, if Henderson and Fabinho were anyway going to go, we kind of needed that one experienced midfielder. I think if Romeo Lavia was costing 50 million pounds, what Liverpool maybe should have done was given Southampton 70 million for Ward Prowse and Romeo Lavia,
Could have
because
done
I
that.
think
Yeah.
that would have got us an experienced head and then gone for another midfielder. And someone like Thuram, because at a club like Liverpool, you need to compete. You are playing in four
Yeah.
competitions, and the Premier League has to be a priority considering you are in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Honestly, you do well. in the Europa League, great. You do not, even if you get knocked out, nobody really cares about the Europa League. It is what it is.
Well, the thing is,
Because even if you win it, you get to the Champions League. Congratulations,
yeah,
you will find Celtic and Rangers there. So
yeah, true.
I don't understand ki what's the point of it. I just feel that Premier League ka title hai, we should be going all after it. We have got Klopp, we have got
Yeah,
Salah, but the fact is we haven't got a lot of years of Klopp and Salah. That's what I personally feel, especially with the way the club is being run.
yeah. The
So
thing is, Roshan, I think Anukash mentioned that with both Henderson and Fabinho leaving, and just rumors, potential rumors of Lavia coming in, do you think we were expecting a mass clear out, and we have seen that happen? Do you think? But however, do you still think that the exit of Firmino was a player out too many, like one player too many, which has left the club? Because yes, he didn't have the best of the seasons last time around, but he's still Fabinho. He's still, I would say, consider him in the uh, top, let's say, 10% of the total midfielders playing in the Premier League. Do you think his exit has really caused this issue of, like, expanded this issue a lot more than it actually is?
Um, I think they were not prepared for Fabinho leaving
Yeah,
or the
true.
bid coming in for Fabinho, because
uh,
if you look
so
at
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
this whole transfer window works if Fabinho didn't go. Like
yes,
if Henderson went and you had two midfielders come in, maybe a third midfielder would have been like, okay, TK, if they can make it, then sure, third midfielder, considering Fabinho can be left once we
yeah,
get that player. But I think they were not expecting a good bid for Fabinho to come in, and I think when they saw like they're getting same amount that they got Fabinho in for
yes.
after 5-6 years of good football that he has
It,
played for us,
it's
I
hard to
think.
turn it down. Yeah,
Right, exactly. So I think we were not prepared for Fabinho leaving,
yeah,
but Jörg Schmadtke was brought in because he has good contacts and connects in Germany.
yeah,
So I'm not really sure why are not we linked with a huge amount of German midfielders from. I mean, they have had good players, like Dortmund had a good season, Frankfurt had a good season, like all these like top 6-7 teams of Germany have had a good season. I'm pretty sure there is a defensive midfielder out there who fits the profile, or even does not fit a profile, can be trained, right? A youngster
yeah.
who can be bought in.
I think,
So I am not seeing that. Like he was brought in specifically with his expertise in German league and German
yes.
scouts and this and that.
Mhm.
So I think we cannot. You can blame the club because the sporting director was a immediate signing, and he has been signed only for the summer technically. Like he
Yeah,
hasn't been signed on to
three-month
be a
contract.
exactly. So if in 3 months, if with this much hype he could not bring these players, and he was like, oh, I'm like, there's this thing where people were talking about ki Schmatke or Klopp ke beech mein jhagda ho jayega because he likes certain set of players, Schmatke likes a certain set of players, how will they gel well? अरे प्लेयर तो दिखा दो, 10 की लिस्ट तो दे दो कि ये मेरे players already हैं. Like a sporting director would say, I have 10 scouts, each scout gave me one player like this, and then there are 10 players. Then Klopp says no to 10, then that's the Klopp problem.
Yeah,
तो स्पोर्टिंग डायरेक्टर तो लेके तो आए, या फिर न्यूज ऐसी, और वी आर स्पेकुलेटिंग, देन पुट आउट द न्यूज सेइंग कि जॉर्ग श्मैटकी शुड गो, कि मैंने तो 20 प्लेयर दिखा है, क्लॉप को कोई पसंद नहीं आया.
hmm. True.
We don't know any of this information that is going around. So, and I don't know, as a sporting director, if I was there, if I value a player at 40 million, if the other club is not ready to sell me in 40, I'll move on to the next choices. ऐसा क्या है
Yeah.
उसमें, लाइक लाविया में, लाइक वो अपनी चकदे वाला डायलॉग है ना, ऐसा क्या है मुझ में जो
हाँ.
उसमें जो मुझ में नहीं.
नहीं, yeah,
Other
yeah.
players that who क्यों, like why? Or I would, what I'm currently thinking is that they thought these two players needed very much right now, and they are banking on Thiago and Bajcetic to get fit, and that
Yeah,
is the midfield. That's the only reason I can think that they're not going hammer and tongs for another midfielder, और
yes.
लुकिंग इन लाइक अगेन. कुछ लोग बोल रहे हैं कि टिपिकल लिवरपूल लास्ट, मतलब जैसे ही फर्स्ट वीक खत्म होगा देखना 2 प्लेयर आ जाएंगे. आई डोंट सी एनी साइंस ऑफ इट, बट I would not put it past Liverpool to do that because they have always done out of nowhere signing.
Business, yes. Like Dominic
So
Szoboszlai himself, he was out of
So I'm not really sure. And then there was an interesting this thing somebody put in our group. Remember this one? They said that I want all my players to be there before the
Preseason, yeah.
preseason, and Szoboszlai and McAllister came preseason. So basically, apparently, those are the only two players we were.
Yeah.
So that could be a very good idea. So you can. I don't think that's wrong because
Yeah.
they thought they needed two midfielders. Henderson was on his out, and for Fabinho, they just got an unexpectedly really good offer.
Exactly.
And Liverpool would not be able to pay the weekly wages that Saudi is going to pay.
Exactly.
So technically, considering like wage bill and all of that, Fabinho even staying at Liverpool would have been like, if you have uninterested player, you can't keep him. It is better to let them go.
Yeah, but Anukash,
maybe that could have been a thing where agar Fabinho had a really good season last season, then you could say exactly. But since he didn't have a really good season, they thought, okay, let's
cash in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the issue. Like, let's say Fabinho is on a downward trajectory and he has a similar.
But the other problem that is, Vatsal, this was supposed to be a rebuild season.
Yeah, that's the issue.
B, we are a sell to buy club. Both of the things have happened. Like sell to buy has happened. Deadwood is clear.
Yeah. But
this was the time we had to spend. So there is no excuse for this. Like,
but Anukash, coming to you here, and I want to stick to this midfield conversation which we are having. My question to you is, after 3 rejected bids for Romeo Lavia, do you still see him being a Liverpool player in the next coming weeks? I'm not saying that he would be a Liverpool player before we face Chelsea. I think it's too late for that thing. But do you still see that Liverpool will eventually pay the 50 million? Because before you start, I want to give my personal opinion on this. Is yes, I personally see him being a Liverpool player by the end of the transfer window. I don't think there's any doubt in that. But my problem is that if you are going to get a player eventually, then why not just pay the money up front, get the player early so he has a few preseason game to gel into the side. Now, on the other hand, you might counter by saying that Southampton 50 मांग रहा है, उसका मतलब ये थोड़ी ना कि हम 50 दे देंगे. Like Indian mindset of bargaining, like वो लोग 50 बोल रहे हैं, but you never know. 40 plus 3 million add-on में भी वो मान सकते हैं. That could be the notion which Liverpool were thinking, which apparently didn't work. Now that is my rationing of thinking. You can rant about this now.
See, honestly, like I'm done with the ranting part. I'll be more rational. See, what I personally feel is that what happens is, like, I would give the example of cricket, like, since that is something which is very important to you. See, जैसे cricket में होता है ना, like a player comes in the Indian team to सूर्य कुमार यादव को देख लो, like ODIs में he hasn't really performed, and what happens with him is he hasn't been able to play his natural game either अच्छी तरीके से, because he always has that thing he is gonna get dropped. I think that is the thing with Yorish Martke. I think अगर Yorish Martke को 2-3 साल का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिया होता है कि भाई तो है यहाँ पे, like you are gonna stay here, then that would have been that of a problem. Now he is fighting for his job. The 2 players that Liverpool have gotten, one was on a release clause, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Alexis McAllister was like a verbal release clause. Ki 35 million pounds. It was an agreement he had with Brighton.
Yes.
Now, what I feel is that this time it comes to Yorish Martke's, like, I won't even say it's his job. Like, he should have some pointers, at least from his personal purview, to say कि अच्छा, there's a reason you should give me an extension. ठीक है. अब अगर साउथहैम्पटन 50 मांग रहे हैं, 50 ही देंगे, या फिर लाइक सपोज जितनी टीम्स मांग रही है उतने ही देंगे, देन आई थिंक इट कम्स डाउन टू हिम कि यॉर्श मार्टिन ने काम क्या किया, एंड व्हाट, बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे एनीवन would want to be a sporting director at a club like Liverpool. So to think about it, I really understand. I think it's more about Yorish Martke wanting to prove himself so that he gets an extension. है ना? So I think it's related to that कि उसने पहले 37 में, फिर 42 में, 46 पे, just to show the club कि यार देखो, I can negotiate a deal lower than the price that they're asking for. That's what.
Okay. So basically, उसका 3-month जो contract था was basically him interning with Liverpool just to show his employers that I kind of.
Arey, the thing I'll tell you, You can do that kind of negotiation when you are in power. जब तुम्हें प्लेयर चाहिए होता है ना, तब दूसरा क्लब knows that you want a player. तो this happened with United. तो I don't remember exactly कौन सा प्लेयर के लिए था. They wanted this player, तो that club said कि ओ अब तो तुम्हें चाहिए, like that player
Sancho.
left. Was it Sancho? I don't remember. It was Sancho. I think it was some Inter Milan thing, so I don't remember. अब हाँ, कोई तो प्लेयर के बारे में बात चल
Okay,
रहा था.
never mind. Yeah. We don't
But
care
the thing
about
was, when you are in desperation of the you don't have a choice ना. तुम ऐसा नहीं बोल रहे हो ना साउथहैम्पटन को कि भाई ये लाविया नहीं तो हमारे पास 10 पड़े हैं, हम 10 देख लेंगे, तुम क्या है.
Yeah.
Right, we don't have that. We don't have that
I
choice.
like Roshan bhai how he said that Lavia ने 10 पढ़े. Yeah.
ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. Like, that is why teams have scouts, because
Yeah.
you have 10 people so that you are not like extorted by people, right? Abhi currently Liverpool does not think that he is a 50 million player. That's why they did
Which
not
I
pay.
personally think he is not either.
Yeah.
Let's get
Yeah.
that
I mean,
clear.
he might be, but he hasn't had the game time to prove it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we are like, before
Soboslai को
yeah.
75 दिया ना बिना पूछे, like उसका रिलीज क्लॉज ट्रिगर किया ना,
60
तो
to 70.
औकात तो है.
60 minutes.
हाँ 60, right. Like I
But
think
हाँ,
with
I get
add-ons
your
and
point.
everything, so
I get
औकात
your
तो
point,
है
yeah.
पैसे निकालने की. ऐसा नहीं है पैसे नहीं निकालने. They just don't think that Lavia is worth that much, and that is why all this haggling.
And
Because
then
they
why
will-
not go for someone like Thuram or Kone? I understand they're not purely defensive midfielders, but reinforcements are required.
Apparently they're saying that the deal collapsed because the asking price was too much. अरे तो लावी के पीछे 3-3 4-4 बिड क्यों कर रहे हो? उसके लिए भी 3-3 4-4 बिड कर लेते ना फिर.
Right.
पता नहीं. There's something weird's happening that we don't
is happening at the club based on how we are acting in the transfer window, because us Liverpool fans, yes, we have had a few ups and downs in the transfer window, but there's one thing that Liverpool are known for is getting the deals done really quickly. Like you know how long was Andre Onana linked with United. We all know the Hosco Guardiola saga, which went on for so many months. But the way Liverpool do business, like one fine day we are linked with a player, 2 days after he's holding a jersey at AX, a training center. That's how we do things. But the thing that I am worried about, and I feel like something is wrong at the club, is because ये deal काफी लंबी चली. हम इतना prolong नहीं खींचते कभी भी किसी को. Now
वही है कि आ जाएगा, बस इतना कचरा क्यों करना था?
Exactly ना, हाँ, we are not used to this कचरा ना, basically.
पहले 1-2 मिलियन क्या बढ़ा रहे हो? अगर तुम्हें see, Liverpool also should understand, if they are not budging, they will not budge for. अगर 2 bid reject कर दी तो तीसरी bid भी reject होगी if you are not matching the valuation.
माइकल एडवर्ड्स के टाइम पे लिवरपूल की, मतलब एक एग्जांपल दूंगा, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट रोशन भाई है. एक जमाल लुइस था. जमाल लुइस के लिए लिवरपूल ने बिड की थी. नॉर्विच का लेफ्ट बैक था. तो वो बिड रिजेक्ट हो गई. एक हफ्ते बाद सिमिकस वाज डन. नो रीबिड्स, नो नथिंग. आई जस्ट फील दैट ठीक है, लाविया अच्छी बात है, बहुत ही अच्छा प्लेयर, मना नहीं करूंगा मैं. आइदर पे द प्लेयर्स और मूव ऑन टू अदर टारगेट्स एट द एंड ऑफ द डे. ऐसा नहीं है कि पूरे यूरोप में कोई डिफेंसिव मिडफील्डर ही नहीं है.
अभी मेरे को एक चीज बताओ, तुम 4 बिड करके भी 50 दोगे, इससे अच्छा पहले 50 जो मांगे वो दे दो. गैम्बल ही है ना. इफ यू आर थिंकिंग दैट प्लेयर इज अ गैम्बल फॉर दैट मच ऑफ अ प्राइस, तो ले लो एंड देन गो विथ इट. क्या कर सकते?
But don't you think it was at least worth trying that? Are they going to budge down or not?
Exactly. I think it was.
भाई एक बार ठीक था. ये जो 4-4 चौथी बिट जा रही है ना, that is just way too excessive.
I think that I agree with Roshan bhaiya. The third bit at least should have been done and dusted.
2 बार ट्राई कर लिया. 35 किया नहीं माने, 42 किया नहीं माने. अब तो you know.
50.
हाँ exactly, simple as
that. या फिर get out of the business ना, अगर लाविया नहीं इतने महंगे में.
Exactly, कोई दूसरा प्लेयर ढूंढ लो. कितने प्लेयर्स हैं?
Anukarsh, there's also people talking about that we needed a center back apparently. There could be an argument made that we needed a right back as well. Now, what are your opinions on the lack of defensive signings? do you think they will ever happen, or because we are too focused on the midfield, focused on the midfield revamp? What are your thoughts? Because there can be an argument made that if you are eventually planning to start Trent as a midfielder on the right side, then you need a proper right back. I don't think Joe Gomez is that person, if you personally ask me. But they are banking on Joe Gomez being that backup to Trent this season. What are your opinions on midfield, on the defensive side of things?
Personally, I at this point of time, I don't really think we need a right back because
Okay.
जो trend वाला role है, I think what I personally feel is जैसे like it is being done on the right ना कि जो right back है basically वो hybrid कर रहा है right
हाँ
back
हाँ
और
हाँ.
defensive midfield में. तो I think what can be alternatively done is कि you play someone like Thiago in place of Trent और left back तो मैं ऐसा खेला I think Tsimikas has played very well this season in that
Yes.
hybrid role. Much better than Robertson. So you can switch it around. कि सिमिकस से वैसे करा दिया ट्रेंड को कर दिया पर हाँ center back dire need honestly.
Yeah.
Matip doesn't have the legs anymore. Joe Gomez has been a catastrophe. I think the reason he is here because he has that English wala quota. ठीक है. And honestly, like what I personally feel is कि a left-sided, center half is required. Players like Lukeba, players I understand we can't buy Guardiola. I get it. But
Yes.
players like Lukeba and like even any centre back, I think when Timber was in the market, it was like a very Liverpool FC sort of deal to do. And I think that sort of signing would have been something very useful for that matter. Or like someone like that. Even I feel Benjamin Pavard at this point is not a bad option. He can play
Yeah,
at
I
centre
love
half.
him.
He can play at right back. He can play
अरे
that hybrid role.
किमिक ले लो.
Oh, भाई.
वो वही वाली बात है नहीं अफोर्ड कर पाएंगे वो लोग हाँ
नहीं
तो
नहीं, दैट इज द होल पॉइंट. नहीं, मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि जो तुम 50 मिलियन लाविया पे कर रहे हो,
हाँ
इफ यू वांट टू बाय लाविया और किमिक, आई वुड स्टिल गो विद किमिक कि वो
Yeah, me.
मिडफील्ड भी खेल सकता है, राइट बैक भी खेल सकते हो, हैव दोस थिंग्स कवर्ड. पावर्ड पर पता नहीं यार, आई डोंट नो हाउ दीस पीपल थिंक.
But
समटाइम्स
I
इट फील्स
personally
लाइक
feel that if we are like the frugal people that Liverpool have been buying players like Lavia, Andre के लिए डील जनवरी के लिए कर देते there is always that option to Andre के प्लेयर जो बहुत ज़्यादा expensive नहीं है and getting in a center half like Lukeba तो फिर वो Leipzig जा रहा है और like players like smart deals I think and that would have been enough for this summer क्योंकि हम लोग
I mean, we
I know
have
Matip
found
दोनों हाँ
we have
yeah.
found people like रॉबर्टसन हमने हल से ढूंढ लिए, रेलेगेटेड टीम से उठा लेने थे.
exactly.
मुझे समझ में नहीं आया, लाइक टीलेमेंस को उठा सकते थे अगर तुम्हें इतना ही मिडफील्डर.
Tielemans, I don't think he can control the midfield, Roshan bhai. I have like last season seen that he lacks when it comes to controlling the midfield. And like
No,
he
no,
can
but
score those goals.
हाँ, like I mean, he's a really good player. I think he just needed a team to express more. Leicester was not probably the best team.
I don't think linked is a very loose word, but like Kieran Dewsbury Hall from Leicester
Kiernan
City.
Dewsbury Hall तो भाई that is a
Last ditch
last ditch. हाँ,
हाँ.
See,
अगर
that is the thing. मतलब जैसे अगर ऐसा होता ना कि अगर लिवरपूल फेबिनियो और हेंडरसन को रिप्लेस कर देती दो मिडफील्डर से फिर एक ऑक्सिलरी मिडफील्डर होता ना कि जैसे केविन ड्यूसबरी हॉल जैसा दैट वुड हैव मेड सेंस
Yeah,
राइट
maybe.
कि अगर चलो दो
भाई
मिडफील्डर खरीद लिया तो वही खरीद लो जो कभी कभी खेल लेगा ऐसे यूरोपा लीग में खेल लिया जो वो मिलनर वाला रोल है ना बेसिकली जो मिलनर या जो हेंडरसन वाला रोल होता है आइडियली दैट मेक्स सेंस बट आई थिंक गेटिंग इन टू रियली गुड मिडफील्डर्स हैज टू बी द बेयर मिनिमम at this
Yeah,
point of time.
the point is कि ड्रूसबेरी हॉल लेना है तो फिर कर्टिस जोन्स और बाइसेटिच में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? लाइक अगर उतना ही
exactly.
यंगस्टर लेना है तो फिर we already have a whole academy full of youngsters who are
Do
willing to prove it.
do you think, Roshan, that we might assuming we don't sign any other midfielders, do you think Harvey Elliott is the one who drops back?
If he's the one who drops back, then we are in trouble because
No,
he's
I'm not
not
saying all the way back to defensive midfield.
no, but still he is not a player who is box to boxish. He's not
Yeah,
Henderson. He's
yeah.
there for more creative outlet rather than doing the defensive work. Maybe his role could change, and that's what they are planning to do with him.
Yeah.
But he's just not the player. Stature nahi hai. Like he's not strong on the ball. No, he's good in trickery and getting through those channels. And
But he's a very good player technically.
he's a good
मतलब
player.
Class. Yeah.
If he can be trained to defend and attack at the same time, then yes, why not? Like that saves us a lot of headache. I
पैसा बहुत है. Like he has
uh,
that. I know उसके बार वो defense करने जाता है. He cannot take the ball out or he cannot really defend. But वो try बहुत
yes,
करता है my
right.
God. He gives 100% of the thing.
I just think the other reason that we are not going so hard on a midfielder right now is because I think the club thinks that Curtis Jones will be their answer to all these things. Who is a strong defense-minded midfielder who has a good attacking sense, can score goals from outside the box. He had a good last 10-15
End
games for
towards the
Liverpool, and he
yeah.
also has won Euro. He played really well for England in Euro. So I
Um,
think he'll get much more time in the first team as
yes.
compared, and
Yes.
he was getting a lot of time before injury also. So I think that is the reason why we are not like going really hard
And
on a third midfielder, because I think
I
Curtis
know
Jones
I've
might be.
been yeah, I know I've been asking questions, but I want to put in my thought on this thing. The reason why we are not really pushing hard for a new midfielder, and I think मैंने notice किया ये preseason matches में we are trying to play a 4-2-3-1 now. I have seen Salah,
अच्छा
Gakpo,
हाँ.
Luis Diaz and Jota all starting together for 2 consecutive matches now. हमने बायर्न म्यूनिक के सामने भी मेरे ख्याल से वो खेला था, और मंडे में जो जर्मन टीम के सामने हमने खेला, I can't remember, I can't
हाँ
pronounce
हाँ
their
हाँ.
name.
Darmstadt.
Darmstadt, sorry, yeah. I think हमने दोनों में we use this quartet of players, and we still have Darwin Núñez who comes in. So technically, if we are planning to play this kind of formation and with just 2 midfielders instead of 3, then it kind of makes sense that we have got 2 new midfielders. We already have Thiago Bicetic and Curtis Jones in our ranks. But still, it kind of feels like we lack a couple of midfielders here and there. But and it's a very big if we are really going to have a formation change this season, then I can kind of understand this. But it's a really long shot because we have never seen a Klopp side play 4-2-3-1 for a prolonged period of time. उसकी Dortmund side ले लो, Liverpool side ले लो, वो 4-3-3 ही खेलता है. तो is it a lack of signings which is causing a tactical change, or is the tactical change causing the lack of signings? Now that you decide.
But then there's one argument. Then it kind of brings back the memories of the Coutinho season, in which Coutinho was brilliant, in which you had Coutinho, Salah, Mane, Firmino, great, amazing. But the problem is it takes the defensive stability away. I love Cody Gakpo. Honestly, मेरा बस चले, I'd start all 5 of our forwards. I love all 5 of them equally. मुझे
Yeah.
बहुत पसंद है हमारे forwards. Even Ben Doak for that matter. I want Ben Doak to play every fucking match at some
Yeah.
point. But the only
Arey,
problem is,
What a player.
he's so exciting. What a player, like genuinely. But the
Alfonso
only
Davies
problem
के
is,
पॉकेट में अभी भी उसके.
absolutely. But the only problem is that it takes the defensive stability again away. Now, if you are, that is the thing. Now, here, this is the time when 2 defensive midfielders are required, because then, अगर तुम एक खेल रहे हो, but say you have someone like Andre or Lavia, or you have
Yeah.
someone like Lavia or Bacchetic or Thiago, or like as a backup, for that matter, you have enough protection. That is how it is. Because considering I like, as much as you love Alexander Arnold, he isn't very good defensively. ठीक है? As much
Agreed.
as you love Andrew Robertson, he hasn't been in this system. He hasn't been at his level best.
Yes.
And considering Konate's injury record, when Matip or Gomez arrived, it's a calamity waiting to happen. So with that sort of defense, I don't understand how we are not going to ship a lot of goals next season.
Like one last question before we, I think, end this lack of signing segment. And I think I'll start with Roshan, then I'll ask Anukarsh you to join in as well. Roshan, we have had a habit of, this odd loan deal or something happening. Arthur Melo ले लो, फिर वो Ben Davies. Ben Davies, what was his name?
Ben Davis, yeah.
Ozan Kabak, Ben Davies.
Ozan Kabak, yeah.
Yeah, that we made these awkward signings.
But I
Eventually,
think Ozan Kabak was still a good signing because I think people don't see that enough. But I think in the matches that he played, he was very crucial.
yeah. So you do see these kind of awkward deals happening out of on deadline day when there are like 3 hours remaining. Do you think we'll see someone like Zerdan Shaqiri return? You know, those kind of players.
I don't think we will probably go that hard. We'll probably not like panic. We
Huh.
might be looking
Panic.
at yeah, we will be looking at a winter transfer window and say, okay, TK, we'll figure it out by then.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, we might not be able to compete all the competitions. So maybe cup competitions might be
On the
played
back.
with like a lot of youngsters.
Yes. Backseat
Uh,
level.
but I think currently this squad is good enough for us to look up until winter or even Christmas break तक हम लोग figure out कर सकते हैं. Take 12-15 games, we
Hmm.
can see where we lie. And honestly, assuming there are no injuries, this squad is good enough
Good enough.
up until that time. And but next 6 months or next 4 months, maybe we have to figure out if we
Yeah.
really want 2-3 players and how to get those 2-3
What are
players as
your
well.
thoughts, Anukash?
Honestly, I think the bare minimum has to be two midfielders and a centre half. And because Matt is gonna leave, so we need another one in January. That is how it has to be. I think कुछ लोगों को लगेगा कि मैं ज़्यादा बोल रहा हूँ, but I will be honest with you, that is the bare minimum required. तुम 38 matches Premier League खेल रहे हो. You have got players like Thiago and Konate in the team who keep on getting injured. है ना? Considering how shambolic, I would say, Gomez and Matip have been, and I don't even blame them. They have had the injury issues. Matip is fastest prime. Gomez, of course, like unfortunately, I still believe that he's a phenomenal player. The only problem is that he hasn't been the same after his injury. So hasn't
Yes.
been Van Dijk either, right? So the fact is, you need that numbers in the squad. You need that quantity also at times. Some quality players to come in, and it has to be there because if you are looking to compete against the likes, and it's not even about beating the top six teams. The fact remains what Liverpool really struggled at last season was
Yeah.
beating the Brentfords of the league, the Wolves of the league, the Brightons of the league. Brighton is still, of course, has done a lot better, but you have to beat those teams when you're Liverpool FC. When you are a team which has been fighting for the titles for the last 4 or 5 years, it has to be the minimum standard.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, but I know you have saying that at least though midfielder and one centre back is the bare minimum. I'm sure you honestly agree with me that that is not going to happen now. But yeah,
You
that's how
never know.
things go. Yeah. You never know. The I think as I can see on the clock here, we have talked 33 minutes about this lack of signings. Let's move on to the second half of this podcast now. Yes, this is the first half. Now there are three more topics, but which is all about on the in the second half of this podcast. Positives heading into the season. First of all, Anukash, if any, that's one question. And second question, if any, and your answer is yes, then what are those positives?
Biggest for me has been Ben Doak. I mean,
Yeah.
what a player! Like genuinely, what a player! You know?
Okay.
And I think, McAllister has really set in well. Still feel that Dominic Szoboszlai will find his form. It will take him some time because, of course, I know it's like the kind of player he is. He's like of that KDB sort of variant, sort of a player, but it will take time for him to maybe
Yes.
adjust to the league. But I think someone like McAllister has really set him well at the club. I think Darwin Nunez has been a huge positive. I
Yes.
mean, I know
Yes.
he did score goals in the last two matches, but come on, he has been by far Liverpool's best forward this preseason.
I really
Uh,
liked Diogo Jota's from this in
yeah,
the preseason
Diogo
as well.
Jota. I think
Amazing.
Diogo Jota, he's a phenomenal player, and I think
Yes.
he's a player who will score, who will guarantee goals as long as he
But
doesn't
the
have any injury
problem with
problem.
the problem with Diogo Jota is he goes under the radar. You have likes of Nunes, Luis Diaz, and Cody Gakpo who are expected to play ahead of him, be it center forward position or on the left wing. But I am sure, like whenever you put Diego Jota in there, he's going to perform really well.
Yeah,
And
and I think
I'm
he's the
really happy
most
with
versatile of the forwards.
exactly yes. After all five of them, if you personally ask me.
he is very versatile and he has done a good job at all, at right wing, left wing, center forward, and I just feel that that has been a huge positive. And of course, I think the fact that Kelleher hasn't left is again a
Yeah,
huge positive
good
for
point.
us,
Good point. Yeah.
because honestly, I think with players like Henderson and Fabinho having left the club, uh, doubts looming over the future of Thiago, I just feel that Kelleher staying is very important, because I don't think if Kelleher goes in that many goals in to get up to be, to attain a midfielder as good as him, a goalkeeper as good as him, because Kelleher is very good. I think personally, I think he's the best number two in the league, because
Personally, yeah, he would start for so many teams. Like you pick
so
up
much definitely.
lower mid-table Premier League side, I think he would be the number one starter for them. But I
Yeah.
really like your point you made that in all this midfield kerfuffle, we don't want all of a sudden a problem of finding a second choice goalkeeper to arise, because we I think, let's face it, we still have Adrian, but I guess the lesser we see him, the better, to be honest.
Yeah.
Adrian, if you are watching, which I think you are not because there is a zero view count here, but sorry if you are listening this. Uh, Roshan, any positives for your end? I think Anukarsh mentioned the forward, which is a forward line, which we have got five forwards, amazing. Apart from that, anything else which excites you heading into the new season?
Yeah, I'm very excited to see Dominic and Alexis. They have been the two best players, and for after a long time there will be a midfield who can support the forward line, who
Yeah,
has the ability
true.
to score. So we have good finishers now with Jota and Gakpo and Nunes. So hopefully we get more balls from midfield into forward line, and we might eventually have to. So we might go back to
I
the
am
2015 Liverpool where the forward scores 6 goals and we concede
concerned.
4 goals, and so that could be a season that we are looking forward to. But
Please no.
I think that's what it.
I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing Luis Diaz, because he has been
Ah,
at the club for like an year and a half now, but I can like barely remember the time he's played, 10 or 15 games on the bounce. Expected he stays injury free. This could be his, ideally speaking, his first full season at the club, and the promises which he showed during the latter stages of 2022, I think he's one to look out for. And I think we'll talk about the ideal playing 11 later on in this podcast. But I think apart from that, I'm also looking forward to having uh, Stefan Bicetic play. This is his break. He's already had a breakout season. This is his first full season for the club. So really excited to see how he goes, because he showed a lot of promise. And yeah, those are the two players I personally am looking forward to. हाँ रोशन कुछ बोल रहा था तू?
अरे मैं सॉरी दिस इज ये मेरा सर तब से खाया जा रहा है.
Sorry, हाँ.
हु इज द फिफ्थ डिफेंडर? मैं नाम भूल रहा हूँ.
Nat Phillips.
नहीं
Nat
नहीं
Phillips,
नहीं. अरे नैट फिलिप्स तो पता है. तो वैन डाइक, गोमेस,
Matip,
Matip,
कोनाटे.
Konate,
ये
फिफ्थ नंबर पर ये
अच्छा
Nat
ठीक
Phillips.
है, और कोई
हाँ,
नहीं है.
सेप
Yeah.
वैंडनबर्ग तो लोन कर दिया, रीस विलियम्स है, रीस विलियम्स को
अरे
भी लोन कर दिया.
हाँ नहीं नहीं नहीं. आई वाज थिंकिंग लाइक who was Van Dijk partnering when Konate was injured? मैं वो सोच रहा था.
Matip होगा.
मैटिप ही था.
मैटिप एंड वो
गोमेस.
कोनाटे, मैटिप और जो गोमेस.
राइट राइट. ठीक है ठीक.
I and good thing we remembered Nat Phillips, because Roshan is a big advocate of playing Nat
I
Phillips.
think I
Fabinho played there at some point of time एक बार तो पहले.
He will.
I think वो क्या बोलते हैं, Leeds want Nat Phillips. I think
Yeah,
वो लोग.
there's no way we should let him go. I think Nat Phillips should start ahead of
अरे no,
Matip.
we have to let him go. I want to see him play. He can't be in Liverpool and not be doing anything.
What a player!
It is a waste of a talent like a player he is. He needs to go if he's not getting a good chance to play,
True.
because he is miles better than Matip and
I
Gomez.
agree. I agree.
If you're considering that Gomez is faster, well, I don't care if he's slow. I just want him to be able to defend the
Defend.
18-yard box. Exactly. बस चलेगा मेरे को. Player charge करे तो करे.
Yeah,
He's a really good player who reads the game well. Yes, he is not probably a very Liverpool type defender because Liverpool
ball
likes to
playing नहीं
be
है ना.
He's a
exactly.
very elegant, हाँ.
That, and also we have a very high line. So he is a very orthodox mid central defender, where he likes to stay behind, just in between the
Yeah.
half line and the 18-yard box के बीच में वो खड़ा रहता है, and he's, because most of the mistakes that Nat Phillips has done is when he's standing high and the ball goes above him.
Yeah.
And when he's like, he has a player in front of him trying to dribble past him, he's crazy good. And one-on-one duels, the number of duels he wins almost every game is more than 80 to 90% of the duels. And so he's a really good player. I would like to see him more, but I guess it's a thing that we cannot. He's not a Liverpool kind of a player.
Agreed.
Anukarsh, let's end this podcast now and talk about the last thing which I really wanted to cover. Is we talked about the squad pretty much in detail. Like, I don't think we left out any position. We all talked about the goalkeeping situation, defense, midfield, attack, everything. Let's briefly talk about the first game, which is against Chelsea, another team which is coming from a rebuild. Now their rebuild compared to our rebuild is like जमीन आसमान का फर्क कह सकते हैं. But what would be your ideal 11 for the Chelsea game?
See, in as a goalkeeper, of course, it has to be Alisson.
Alisson,
The defensive line has to be
Right.
Robertson, Alexander-Arnold, Konate, and Van Dijk. I think it very well sets itself.
I think 5 of these players would be same for each ideal 11.
Yeah,
Like whoever.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The midfield will be McAllister in the number 6 role, and McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Curtis Jones for me
Yeah.
at this point of time. And I think Curtis Jones has been very good in this preseason.
Yes.
And the forward line, for me would be. It's a very tough one actually, but the forward line for me would still be Diaz, Salah, and Diogo Jota.
Oh, nice. So you are going with form in preseason.
Yeah,
You're picking
not
form
in
over.
just preseason. I just think that they are just the more reliable. Like Jota is just the more reliable sort of centre forward.
Yes. What about you, Roshan? Ideal 11?
Ideal 11 is our front three would be Diaz, Nunes, and Salah,
Yeah.
with Gakpo as a 10
Right.
false nine, whatever you want to call. Then in midfield, I'll have Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Curtis.
Yeah.
But-
Same, very much, yeah.
So it will be like a 3-4-3 in my mind.
Okay.
But-
So you're expecting Trent to be higher.
Oh, sorry, not Curtis. Sorry, Trent.
Yeah,
in that
exactly.
case.
Yeah.
So it was like Alexis Trent, and then Gomez, Van Dijk, Konate being the back line.
Gomez.
Gomez.
Yeah, because I feel like the right hand side needs to be a little bit stronger, because left hand side there will be cover with.
So no
like,
Robertson.
That is, I want to see without Robertson, because I just want to see how this pans out,
But
because
then,
we don't.
Roshan bhai, one of Konate, Gomez, or Van Dijk goes to play that virtual left back, left centre half role, right?
See, that is the flaw with my back three, is that there is no conventional right back, left back, but there will be no conventional right back, left back when Trent plays in the midfield.
Right.
So
Makes sense.
I guess what they could do is probably they might go with Konate right hand sided, Virgil left hand sided, and then, as you said, Robertson as the left back, but Trent being more involved in midfield. And it's weird to think of Robertson as a third centre back. That's what I was thinking. I was looking at 3 really good centre backs. That's when Robertson goes out. So I think ऐसा भी कर सकते, like what happens is, if Trent is not fitting well, then they switch Trent out completely, put Curtis Jones in, makes that midfield, and then you have more outlet from left with Robertson. Maybe that could be a substitution tactical thing. We'll have to figure that out. Abhi dekhte hain na, like as I probably had said before in other podcasts also, we haven't seen Trent play in this position with the top 6 teams or top 8 teams
Yes,
regularly.
yes. Good point.
Makes sense.
So in that case, we might just go back to like a 4-2-3-1, where one being Nunes, obviously, and three
Yeah.
being like left me.
It's so tough to
Yeah,
leave a forward out, right?
yeah.
At this point in time.
But I would say Liverpool has to go out with four attackers, Alexis and Soboslai. These 6 players are crucial to set the
Yeah.
tempo, to get that press on, to make sure that we
I
are more forward pressing
Yes,
instead
yes,
of count like. Kyuki we will be susceptible to counter, so we can't let the opposition to have a lot of time on the ball. So we'll
yeah.
have to be really quick on our feet with all these pressing. Hopefully, if everybody is fit, this will be a crazy team to look at. I'm pretty sure if they play really high intensity, first 20-30 minutes, you'll not see the ball with opposition.
You remember that game against Arsenal when we played Wijnaldum and Coutinho, Mane, Firmino, and can't remember the fourth.
The
That's two. What was
best
that?
ever
4-4
pressing
or
game.
something?
I don't know, though that game was different. That game was
I'm talking about the
yeah.
one where Mane made his debut. I
Oh, so
forgot
that
that
was
game.
4-3.
Acha. Oh,
Four three.
four, three.
Yes.
Right. That was the first game of the season.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. Great game.
but the
Amazing game.
best game I've ever seen is Liverpool Arsenal at Anfield and Brendan Rodgers era.
Oh,
Acha.
5-1.
पहले
5-1.
पहले 2 मिनट में 2 goal and like first 20 minutes में 6-7 goals हो जाते.
हाँ.
That
I
is the
remember मेरे एक बहुत अच्छा फ्रेंड है साहिल स्कूल का. So back before that match, we had this bet. I was like that he like didn't used to follow football much. So I was like, if Liverpool beat Arsenal, you are going to be a Liverpool fan. Like that's like how I convert. Like people do with
Oh,
religions, I do that with football. Anyway, so he was like, there's no way in hell Arsenal is gonna lose this match. He called me up here 3-0 and he was like, dude, what do they even do? And yeah, I mean, that is like,
that
the
that
basically that's
domination that was crazy. Didn't give Arsenal a chance to pass.
that's
That-
that's the intensity which I'm expecting, because once again we are away from home to start with.
there is no reason for us now. Everybody's fit. Everybody has had a really good preseason. No injuries apart from Alexis. Hopefully he's fine.
Bicep injured है ना मेरे ख्याल से.
He and Thiago are
they are in training though.
yeah. They'll be back. They'll not be immediately back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to see that like first 10 minutes as a चढ़ के खेलने का. Chelsea के पास shouldn't have a ball.
Chelsea, I think Liverpool should beat comfortably.
That is one yeah. Chelsea has had problems. They don't even know what their playing 11 is at this
Plus,
moment.
Nkunku is injured.
Honest peer predictions without seeing.
भाई अभी कहाँ ये सब वापस बोल रहे हैं. Well,
No.
3-1 to Liverpool.
I think
Yeah.
I would like
3-1. I would say we'll keep a clean sheet. I think I'm going 3-0 Liverpool.
Clean sheet तो मुश्किल लग रही है. But
No,
yeah.
the reason is that
Nicholas Jackson also, no?
who?
Nicholas Jackson, नया player आया उनके
yes.
पास.
Yeah. I personally would like to. I'm like a very pessimistic kind of player. I would say 2-1 Liverpool. I'll still say Liverpool would win, but I don't think it. I feel like it's going to be free flowing from our side, but it's very much dependent on how Chelsea would play, because I don't expect them to play free flowing.
But to answer Shayan by honest PL predictions, is it for the game or for the whole
I think
season?
I think it means for the entire season. I think that's what it means.
Entire season, I don't think it will be entire season. By January, we should be getting few players in.
Yeah,
That is
Up
for
the
sure.
quadruple chasing rates.
Hopefully by that time we figure out our sporting director situation also.
Yeah, true.
I really want personally, like as much as I've criticized
देखो,
him, I really want Schmatke to come back this transfer window only and get us some really good signings and just
Acha,
shut
for the
people's
whole
mouths,
season.
including mine.
Yeah, by the way, yes, he
For
did
the whole
come up.
season.
Yeah, for the whole season. Yeah,
For the whole season, it will be difficult because if you are playing four competitions and Europa League is not that easy, all these lower ranked teams they kind of play like there's no tomorrow. They play with like okay, nothing to lose kind of teams when you get, because Champions League में फिर भी there is like teams play like there's a cat and mouse, but इसमें तो क्या है, छोटा team does not have anything to prove to anybody. They'll go.
if
So
I would personally go with the fact that if there comes
if
a time where there is no chance we finish, we can win the title, let's go for the Europa League.
But again, I would say injury less season, we have adequate squad. But if it's a injury prone season like last year, we'll struggle.
Educate squad for what? Winning the title.
For a good season, let's see. I'm not like we need to win at least one title. It could be Europa League, it could be FA Cup, whatever. That if we win FA Cup, then we can play Community Shield next year. So I just want trophies. I don't want it to be like
I
मुझे यही trophy चाहिए, no trophy like Mickey Mouse trophy. I don't consider any other thing. All the trophies are there. We are playing for it and needs to be won. That every trophy has its
yes,
own importance. So I don't care.
agreed, agreed,
So
agreed.
I want trophies. Khadam. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I'll end there.
What about you, Anukash?
I mean, it's as simple as that. A club like Liverpool, especially when you've got Klopp, मुझे नहीं लगता Klopp बहुत साल रहेगा, ठीक है? Klopp जब तक है, I think we should get the best out of it because मैंने एक चीज देखी है अपने सारे rivals में, United, City तो खैर of course have got Guardiola, United, Arsenal वगैरह. I think the problem has never been with them कि कौन कितने पैसे उड़ा रहा है, कौन कितने वो कर रहा है. It has always been the manager. We are very lucky as a club to have Jurgen Klopp. For the last 7 8 years, we have that stability in the side. Europe, जो players like Dominic, players like Alexis wouldn't have come to the club if Klopp नहीं होता. And I just
Agreed.
feel that under Klopp we have to win more titles because
Yes.
this is an era. भरोसा नहीं है ना, अब तो मैं मालूम पड़ता है स्टीवन जेरार्ड नेक्स्ट मैनेजर है ना. एंड आई लव स्टीवन जेरार्ड, ठीक है, आई लव स्टीवन जेरार्ड, बट द थिंग इज कि here's the deal, Jurgen Klopp, he can just change anything. He has like changed us from doubters to believers. And मतलब चैंपियंस लीग तो मैं ग्रांटेड लेने लग गया था हर सीजन ना कि it used to be like that. So I just feel that we have to give him the money, we have to
Yeah.
give him the players he needs and the players that have to be there. एज ए क्लब ये जो वो है ना कि एक मिडफील्डर ही आ जाए, अच्छा एक सेंटर हाफ बाद में लाएगा, ऐसे नहीं वर्क करता. इट लाइक जैसे फॉरवर्ड लाइन को हमने मानने साला फाइव से जेन्युइनली मानता हूँ कि हमने रिवैम्प किया है, मिडफील्ड और डिफेंस को वैसे रिवैम्प करना पड़ेगा. There is no other way.
करेंगे करेंगे सब हो जाएगा. Don't worry,
अच्छा.
man. मैं बोल रहा हूँ.
Before you guys go, I just want to take Shayan Bhai's question of
Yeah.
the Redman TV adamantly
यार वो
defending FSG. I'll tell you one thing. There is definitely a lot of PTSD left over from Tom Hicks, George Gillett era and bankruptcy era. And there are very few clubs who are financially stable. Like you can say that other clubs are buying players, but the amount of debt that they have,
exactly my
it
point.
can, yeah. So on a larger scale, like you can say that FSG कंजूस है, but on a larger scale, they even if they go out, we will not be under a lot of debt, or like the
Exactly.
club will not crumble on when they leave. So I agree that the owners are कंजूस on their part, but Liverpool has to be smart by not
Exactly.
getting into that thing.
Exactly.
United be once Glazers leave, if they don't get a good owner apart from the oil money,
It's
that
going to fall apart. Yeah, it's all going to fall apart.
so it is very important. So yes, there is some sympathy towards FSG just because of that.
Exactly.
But okay, like they can be held accountable.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying
maybe Redmond TV know what we don't know. Maybe some signings come in and then like
yeah, I personally I think LFC Ahmedabad people know it quite well that I have been one of the very few people who still back FSG. Yes, this season has not gone according to plans, and I agree that they should have had a little bit more open mindedness towards players coming in and out. But in the grand scheme of things, Liverpool are in a much better shape than we were like 10 years ago. We are like let's make one thing very clear before we agree, before we end this, that yes, signing players is important, but signing players is not the only way an owner can show ambition towards the club, is what I always try and make people understand. Like, expanding the stadium is one thing, clearing the debt is one thing, and stuff like that. I'm not backing LFs, like I'm not supporting LFs, FSG here, but these are some of the other parameters at which we should also judge a particular owner. That's my
Absolutely.
personal opinion. I
Fair
think,
enough.
yeah,
No, that is, no, I get it, but that's the only reason I feel like there is some sympathy towards FSG Shine.
exactly my
That's the
point.
only
Yeah,
reason. Like, I don't say that they are good, bad, ugly, but it's not just initially saving us. They also, like, agar, let's say if there was loss of, there was no intent and they did not want the club to do well, but we eventually did well. Yes,
exactly.
we could have been more ambitious, but we have achieved much more in what we had. So I mean, that is a reality we live in. Like, some clubs don't even have good owners. We
Yeah,
at least have something in middle. It's not,
exactly.
yeah,
and
so
and
it's okay.
and
That's fine.
and
Yeah.
I am like, once we get, like, there is always going to be, seeing other clubs get players and stuff, there's always going to be a bit of inside a fan, like, why can't my club do this, why can't
हाँ, वो
my
तो
club
है.
do that? But yeah, that's the
Especially,
nature of the
Absolutely.
way. You're not going to compete, and I'm forever grateful that we don't have such oil, sugar daddies in a way, as our owners, because we like
Absolutely.
to be the way. And I'm glad that Anukash and Roshan agree with what I'm saying
Absolutely.
without
yeah.
anything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I,
Anukash, any parting thoughts from your end?
Just that I would want everyone to subscribe to LFC Ahmedabad and the Indie Football Podcast. Help us grow.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
this year, yeah, we have discussed before
Yes.
starting recording this,
If
that
you want
there are.
MSD to spend more money, please subscribe to LFC Ahmedabad and the Indie Football Podcast.
चलो कल एक
देखो,
मिलियन सब्सक्राइबर आ
भाई
गए मेरे.
भाई लोग,
ठीक.
अब
चलो,
तो
okay, guys. Thank you.
अब तो अब तो मोनेटाइजेशन का भी लेवल घटा दिया. नाउ
हाँ,
इट इज
exactly.
only
अच्छा.
500 subscribers you need to start
Yeah,
monetizing. So
exactly.
yeah.
Oh,
Let's build this together.
So
And yes, when we
हम दोनों को पहुंचा दो इस साल 500 तक, and then you'll have much better content for
Anukash,
you
let's
guys.
make a deal live on camera. Once LFC Ahmedabad gets monetized, we will do a Liverpool kit giveaway. How does that sound?
ठीक है, सही है, सही है.
हाँ, फिर अंदर झोल करके आशुतोष को ही गिफ्ट दे देंगे, पर
Yeah.
करते हैं
ठीक
कुछ.
है,
ठीक है.
okay.
I think we had a very healthy discussion. We had our ranks, but we also looked at the positive side of things, and we also did discuss the owners in a bit. But to cover everything up, I think Liverpool fans, regardless of transfer activity being on the negative side, we are still looking forward to this season, and I hope
One
you
last
tune in.
thing, thank you guys for inviting me because on the podcast जैसे कोई United fan आता है, with all due respect, I have to like very neutral, कोई City fan भी आता है. But on LFC Ahmedabad, I can be
You can be
myself that
yourself.
way.
You can be yourself.
Yeah, like, मतलब
Yeah,
वैसे भी on the podcast, I love to, and like I really respect every case that comes in.
yeah.
But yeah, like you get to be a Liverpool fan exclusively here, so
Makes sense. Yeah, yeah, no worries.
I,
And as we discussed, this is going to be a very long season for us, because there's going to be a lot of content on this channel and on the Indie Football Podcast channel as well. Roshan,
Yeah.
any parting thoughts? Do you miss Yash? Do you miss Anmol?
Yeah, I've missed a lot of action, but I'm glad we were not behind each and every rumor that would have driven me mad because it's
Yeah, me too.
Liverpool.
Yeah,
But I'm happy that football is back, and whatever plays, whatever
yeah.
things happen, I'm just happy that we will be entertained for the next 10 months.
Yes, entertainment is going to happen. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing not only to LFC Ahmedabad but also to the Indie Football Channel podcast channel. We will have their links in the description as well. But for the time being, keep buying Nike stuff. Buy a Google Pixel, because we are now sponsored by them. That can increase the transfer budget.
Uh,
So
I,
don't buy iPhones anymore. Buy Google Pixel. Pixel all the way. This is me, Vatsal Vora, signing off along with Anukash Jain and Roshan.
bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you for tuning in.